Welcome to the Graduate Job Podcast, your home for weekly information and inspiration to help you get the graduate job of your dreams.
Hello and welcome to the Graduate Job Podcast with your host, James Curran. The Graduate Job Podcast is your home for all things related to helping you on your journey to find that amazing job. Each episode I bring together the best minds in the industry, speaking to leading authors, graduate recruiters and career coaches who bring decades of experience into a bite-sized weekly 30-minute-ish show. Put simply, this is a show I wish I had when I graduated. And a big hello to the 114th episode of the Graduate Job Podcast, the UK's number one and longest running careers podcast. The clocks have gone forward, the days are getting longer, and the graduate recruitment process is in its final throes for another year. And I'm here for another episode of Careers Advice. It's been a busy year so far. I know I've been light on the episodes, but I've been working away in the background, helping some great candidates from members of the How to Get a Graduate Job course to other coaching clients. And I've been working with them all, coaching them through the application processes for the Big Four, law firms, FMCGs, banks, consultancies, and everybody in between. And I'm pleased to say the results have been brilliant for everybody, with multiple offers rolling in and candidates in the enviable position of being able to pick and choose what the best role is for them. Now, I'm going to get some of them on the show soon to talk about their experiences and so they can share their hints, tips and insights. So stay tuned for those episodes coming soon. But today I'm going to take you through a predicament which many candidates currently find themselves in, for all different sorts of graduate schemes, being on the dreaded waiting list. So in today's episode, I'm going to share some tips for what you can do if you find yourself in this position. Now, I don't need to tell you that it is a competitive graduate job market out there at the moment. The number of graduate jobs is slightly down, and as a result, many firms are seeing record levels of applications for each graduate job. And this is why it's more important than ever to make sure you are doing the right things with your application and avoiding the basic mistakes that most candidates make. And why so many people have been getting in touch for coaching. Now, if you haven't got a graduate job yet and you haven't been in touch for help, then why not? You are putting yourself at a disadvantage to the people you are up against. So check out how I can help, and for a free half-hour coaching session that I offer, which you can find in the show notes, which today are over at graduatejobpodcast.com/waiting. As I mentioned, it is a competitive market out there, and recruiters are receiving a ton of applications. Now, of course, there's lots of rubbish ones which go straight in the bin, but there are also lots and lots of good ones, and lots of people who are making it through each stage. And sadly, there are more good applications than there are roles available. As a result, the graduate application process is slow, very slow, with lots of waiting at each stage. And nowhere is this more the case than waiting for the assessment centre, which is a position I know lots of people are in at the moment. Waiting for an assessment centre which may or may not even happen. So, what should you do in this situation? Today, I will run you through the 5 things you should do if you find yourself in this waiting game. Tip number 1 is have patience. Now, you might be worried that all of the jobs are filled, but don't forget, lots of candidates who get offered graduate jobs turn them down. As I said, most of the members of the How to Get a Graduate Job course have had multiple offers this year. The advice I give them is always to accept the first offer and then to withdraw later on when you find out which one you really want to take. And this happens all the time. Companies know this is a fact of life and they expect a certain number of candidates to pull out of the process. So firstly, don't despair. Just because you're on the wait list doesn't mean it is the end of the world. What you should do is focus on point number 2, which is be flexible. Just as people will pull out of graduate job offers, once they've got the job they really want, they're also going to withdraw from the other application processes they're in. People pull out of assessment centres all the time, often at the last minute. which is why you need to get in touch with the graduate recruiters and let them know that you are completely flexible and available to attend an assessment centre at very short notice, should anyone pull out. Graduate recruiters hate running assessment centres that are below capacity, so make sure that they know that you are good to go at short notice should the need arise. And this leads us nicely onto point 3. It's no good telling the graduate recruiter that you are good to go if you aren't ready to perform at short notice. What this means is that you need to be on top of your interview practice, that you are well versed in everything that is going on at the company in question, that your competency answers are on point, that you know the job spec back to front, and you know exactly what competencies and strengths they're looking for. And, if required, that your numerical reasoning skills are finely tuned. If they get in touch at short notice, you don't want to be starting from scratch to get up to speed, as you're going to be making things very difficult for yourself. So keep your practice up. Get some practice coaching sessions booked in with me, and I can make sure that you are like a finely coiled spring, ready to perform at the right time. If they tell you that actually they're full. Sorry, no room at the inn, scheme closed for the year. Now this depends on the company, but if you're applying to a firm that has several schemes and locations on offer, then the first thing you should do is again show your flexibility. When you're applying, as you know, you get to choose which scheme you're applying to and the location that you want. Now, maybe for example you've applied for a tax accounting role with the Big Four in an exciting location like Leeds or possibly London. Now, the most popular schemes and locations will often get filled up first, but get in touch with the recruiter and tell them that you love the company, you really want to work for them, and you are flexible, and that you would happily work anywhere in the country, and that you would take any role with them that's available, not just tax accounting, but any scheme that is going to be relevant. Show them that you're flexible. The caveat to this, though, is only do it and say it if it's true. Now, yes, you might be able to move roles and locations further down the line, but you're not going to be able to do it straight away as soon as you start the role. So don't sign up for a role you are going to hate. But location-wise, all I would say is Londoners, if you're listening, and I take this to mean generally people living in the south of England, this might come as a shock, but there is life outside of the M25. Don't be snobbish about roles in the rest of the UK. Now, I know that some of the clients I work with have an aversion to anything which is north of the Watford Gap, but it doesn't need to be like that. Be flexible, and you never know what might come of it. Now, maybe you've been flexible, you've been patient, and still nothing has happened. The schemes have shut up shop, and you are jobless. What do you do now? If that's the case for you, what you need to do is learn and reflect. Look, this is the way it is sometimes. That's the way the cookie crumbles. You did your best, you tried your hardest, and it just doesn't come off. That's life. But what you need to do is you need to learn and reflect from the situation. Firstly, though, just acknowledge that you've done really, really well. The company has put you through to the very final stage of the process. That is a great thing. They would only do that if they really like you as a candidate, so take pride from that fact. It wasn't a no, it was just a not yet. Now maybe if you'd applied earlier, things could have been different. And that is an important point to reflect on. You were in a queue of candidates that they were working through. Now what could you have done to get yourself to the front of the queue? Did you leave your application until the very last minute to apply? Did you complete each psychometric test or video interview possible day? Just think, each day you delayed was another maybe 10 candidates in front of you now in the queue. So be honest with yourself and learn for next time. It is a balance between rushing an application and prevaricating. And from my experience with the clients I coach, often the balance is toward prevaricating. So think if this is true for you. Now, I know it's really annoying to be in this position. You're waiting, and you've put all the hard work in. But as I said, see the positives. They want you. They like you as a candidate. No's in the graduate recruitment process come very quickly. So no news is good news. And if needs be, you've got to take this positivity with you to the next stage of the application cycle later in the year. You know you've got to the assessment centre stage in the past. You can do it again. And then this time you will go one better and get the graduate job. Be honest as well about if you want some help and coaching. Olympic athletes have coaches, so why wouldn't you want help as you try and get the most difficult job of your life? Check out my coaching, which is linked to in the show notes at graduatejobpodcast.com/waiting. And also the step-by-step online course, howtogetagraduatejob.com, which I launched last year and has been successful in helping graduates get multiple offers on prestigious schemes. It will be the help you need to get you over the finish line in the application cycle. Right, so I hope that has helped some of you who are still waiting for those assessment centres. Be positive and your time will come. That is everything from me today. Remember to check out the show notes at graduatejobpodcast.com/waiting. And get in touch if you would like a free 30-minute coaching call. Details of which you can find in the show notes. Hope you enjoyed the episode today, but more importantly, hope you use it. See you next time.